Hello, bright souls. This is Susan with Blended Insight, and thank you for joining me. For those of you that don't know me, I am an intuitive, an energy healer, and an integrated/holistic wellness practitioner who just loves to learn, grow, develop, and evolve. And even though my primary specialty is doing energy healing and also doing intuitive readings, I am a holistic wellness practitioner, and I have studied nutrition. I did a mindfulness course. I did a life coaching certification course. I did a hypnotherapy certification course. And really, I just study all areas of life because I want to be balanced. I want to exercise. I want to eat well. I want to have beautiful relationships. I also want to study all areas of life. I don't want to just have my head in the clouds in the spiritual world where I'm not relatable to those in the walking life. And that's one of the main blessings I feel I've been able to be a bridge between people in the regular waking life and spiritual practices such as energy healing and intuitive readings, because I like to also be grounded so that I can connect with those who maybe wouldn't otherwise be open to this type of work. And before I get into today's podcast topic, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I want to thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel, for liking my podcast, for visiting my blog. I'm starting to write blogs again. I was for a little while, and I've been getting guidance to do the blogs, but I just get a little bit busy and I haven't went back to it, but I'm starting it again because I'm following my guidance. So I just want to thank you for your support. Thank you for recommending me, sharing my videos, sharing my podcasts, and all of those great things. Honestly, it means the world to me. You have no idea how much it means to me. It brightens my day and it gives me confirmation that this type of work is meaning and valuable to others and that I should stay the course. Also, one last thing before I get into this. I keep meaning to mention this every week and then I forget. So if you have ever received a private session from me or downloaded some of my personal products and you've benefited from them, if you are willing to leave me a testimonial, I would be so grateful. All you have to do is just send me 1 or 2 sentences of a testimonial of what you've gotten out of the service or the product. That's it. 1 or 2 sentences, Susan at Blended Insight. And if you can leave me send me a JPEG picture and you give me permission to post that on my website and my social media platforms, I'd be so grateful. Okay, so on to today's podcast topic. This is a request from the dearest, sweetest YouTube follower of mine that I so appreciate. It is on how to deal with disappointment as an empath. Now, we all deal with disappointment at some point in our life, but for empathic people, which is said to be only about 5% of the population. I don't know how exact that number is, but I would say that's probably pretty close. I know it feels like there's a lot of us because we're kind of grouped together, but in actuality, there's not that many of us. So for us, it's a little bit more challenging to deal with disappointment than the regular person because we feel so deeply. So on today's podcast, I want to share my best tips and tools on a practical and spiritual level on how to get through the disappointment and release it as quickly as possible. So the very first thing that I have learned to do when I am feeling heavy emotion, and it could be disappointment or any other emotion, but the very first thing I always do is ask, is it mine? Because as an intuitive person, we are magnets for everyone else's energy. And because we kind of merge with other people's energy really easily, and we can just feel exactly what they're feeling on such a deep level that sometimes it's hard to separate. Wait a minute. Is that you feeling that way or me feeling that way? So when you're going about your day, especially if you haven't shielded yourself or you've been really busy, you can pick up other people's energy and it can start to amplify what was already in your energy field, or just something new that wasn't there and it's there now. That's the very first thing I always say to do, is ask, is this mine? And if the answer you get is no, it's not yours, the next thing to ask is, who does it belong to? When that first thought comes into your mind, trust it. And then you can do all this mentally in your head. Then you can just say, I am giving this person's energy back to them, and I'm taking all of my energy back for me. Because another thing that happens with empathic people is that our energy can get scattered because we have the tendency to attract energy vampires and narcissists, or just people in need. They're attracted to that light in you, but then they become leeches and they're sucking off of you. So by sending energy back to them, you're taking all of their stuff and putting it back where it belongs. And then by taking your own energy back, you're disconnecting that leech type of energy where they're taking from you. And I'll say for myself, when I just do this, when I notice it in myself and I do it all mentally, I will notice my energy pick back up and I feel better. So that's one thing that you can do. So what if the disappointment is coming from the expectation that you had of another person and they didn't fulfill your expectation, which is basically your unfulfilled expectation resulted in disappointment because you were hoping that they would have done something different or behaved a different way. Or maybe you're the person that's giving all the time and then when you need something, no one's around. Or perhaps someone betrayed you. There's all of these different variables that can go along with feeling disappointed. But here is something so important to recognize as an empathic person. First of all, if you are feeling disappointed by a person, something that they did, let's say this has been a pattern in my life where I will give and give and give. And there isn't much reciprocity because as an empath, I tend to attract people that are extremely needy or they're narcissist or they're just feeding off my energy or they're looking at me as someone that they can just take from. And then, and part of that is just because of my path as being a healer and a teacher. So I've learned to let my no be a complete sentence. So when I say no, that's it. It's a complete sentence. No. I've really been working on my boundaries so that I don't get into the pattern of feeling resentful and disappointed. So here's the deal. If you have been giving to someone or you're feeling disappointed over someone's action, really quietly sit with yourself and review your own motives. So if you are doing something for someone out of obligation, or you're doing something for someone because you're trying to get their validation or their approval, which is something a lot of us do just because we're wanting to, boost our self-esteem or feel that we have worth. That's a whole different topic. But if you are doing that, you are sending the resonance of lack out energetically when you do those acts. It isn't from a pure place. Even though we're empathic, it's still not from a pure place. And I've learned this in myself because I used to get caught up in feeling obligated all the time and I would just put myself on fumes and it lacked from my own inability to set healthy boundaries. So if you are giving to someone or doing something for someone out of obligation, you really need to peel back the layers within yourself. Just decide to say no and set some boundaries around that. When I am giving or when you are giving with a pure intent or say spirit has told me to do it, I'm not attached to the outcome. So that's another thing you have to really learn. When you're doing something for someone or giving an act and it's from a pure place, just don't attach from the outcome. Know that you've given with a pure intent. So that pure positive energy went out. The Creator will take care of you. The way that I look at it now is that if I can feel myself being taken advantage of, I feel like that's an opportunity for me to up level. I really need to examine the relationships in my life and take it as a learning experience. Like, oh, okay, well, maybe I was a vibrational match to this person at one point, but I'm no longer a vibrational match now. And if you can't sit down and have a conversation with the person and say, look, I'm really not going to be able to do this, or, it just goes back to boundaries. So that can kind of help you to see, all right, this is not in alignment with me, or things need to shift so that I can let this disappointment go. And ultimately, if you are giving with a pure intent, you are taking really good care of yourself, the disappointment just seems to pass much quicker. So here's another thing we do as empathic people. We get ourselves on a spiritual sprint. We're just immersed in positive affirmations and spiritual growth and trying to look at everything from an optimistic standpoint. We want to give to animals. We want to give to people. We want to serve. Sometimes we get a little bit sad that we don't see that reciprocated to us. And sometimes we can get really disappointed in outcomes. Like, for example, I seem to have this conversation a lot with clients or just with people in general, where you start to almost sink down into feeling like, I don't want to say a victim because that's not the right word, but I don't know if you've ever had an experience where you feel like, gosh, I'm giving and I am trying to evolve and I'm sending out good energy and I'm meditating and I'm sending the world love. And I just wanted this one little thing. To come through, and it didn't come through for me. And I'm just feeling like with everything that I give, I just do not get it back. I don't know if I'm alone in feeling like that. Well, I know I'm not because I've had the conversation so much, but that is another root of disappointment sometimes. It really just comes from a place of our faith dipping down to feel like, am I out here all alone? Well, it's easy to feel that way when there is only around 5% of the population that's empathic. When I have those types of moments, I have to realize this is an opportunity for me to deepen my spiritual practice, deepen my faith, and it's a time for me to dig deep and soothe myself. A lot of times you find that you're by yourself. You don't have people in your circle that can give you the encouragement on a level that you need. Sometimes you don't have people in your circle that can understand what you're going through as an empathic person who feels deeply. It's a different layer of emotion that seems to, it kind of just feels heavy on us sometimes, and you start feeling like, geez, I've been there, so I can totally talk this and understand it. Now, normally for me, if I get to this place, these are my go-to things that I do. I will take a salt bath with a pound of sea salt and a pound of baking soda with some essential oils, because that will totally clear your energy field. So that way I know if there is any stragglers hanging on me that I was unable to get, they're coming off of me when I take this bath. So I will do that soak for 20 minutes. The other thing I will do is I will book myself a private energy healing session, and I mean pronto. I will contact someone to do an energy healing on me and say, look, I need another set of eyes on this. I'm feeling a little bit low, so I need to recharge energetically. Sometimes I'll get a massage. Massage is very soothing for me, and it's an act of self-care. Sometimes I just need to go for a walk. Exercise is so vitally important, and I know y'all are tired of me saying it, but I cannot emphasize it enough. It really does expand your health rays. It expels negative energy out of your body, and if you're feeling like kind of down, it helps to boost your serotonin levels. So on all levels, it's really good to do. The other thing that I will do is just a meditation to try to connect with my source. I'll put on some essential oils in my diffuser, and I will just give myself a moment of connection, recharge, and self-care, which is vitally important for empaths because we really can't be around other people as much as others. We absorb too much, and we have to do a lot of work shielding ourselves and getting everyone's energy off of us just to feel balanced. So just to do a quick recap, make sure that it's actually your emotion that you're feeling. Clear your energies. Make sure that your energy field is nice and clear and clean. Ground yourself. Deepen your spiritual practice. Remind yourself that your sensitivity is a gift. Your intuition, the way that you are in this world, is by design, by the Creator. You have the ability to connect to Source and lift yourself up, which is the reason why you are also able to lift others up. You have a strong connection. So it's kind of like when I feel like I'm down in the dumps, like, gosh, I don't get the support that I give. I remind myself that, yes, I do. My support is coming from the Creator in a way that I can recognize. Not everyone has the desire or the connectivity to recognize when they are being connected through Source. I channel for people, and that's a gift. So I have to realize that, hey, people say, hey, it's lonely at the top in leadership. I understand what they mean by that, because when you were at the top, you have to do some things for yourself. And guess what? You're a grown-up and you can do it, and you will do it, because you're needed on this planet. We need your light, and we need you to pick yourself up and keep going. And thankfully, there's so many tools to support you. There's energy healing. There's tons of spiritual material that you can pick up and inspire yourself. You can exercise. You can meditate. Essential oils can help. I mean, there's so many different means. And maybe your lesson is to set boundaries. I know that's a lesson of mine. So it's like, okay, this is something I need to work on, and I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to get it down, and then I will evolve even quicker. And you could also be setting an example for other people that are watching. I mean, I'm always mindful that I'm setting an example for my daughter, and you never know who you're inspiring or you're teaching just through observation, whether you know it or not. Those are my best tips to support you. And with that, let's do an energy healing. So please uncross your arms and legs. I am turning the energy healing on. So just focus on your breathing and knowing that this emotion will pass. Emotions come and go. They will pass. And the best tools to support yourself at this time will come to your awareness. Disconnecting from others and allowing them to live their own life. They are on their own path of evolution. Whatever that looks like for them, it doesn't matter. We cut those cords. We focus on our own divine light, our own connection, and what it is that we came here to do, because we don't have control over other people. Filling you up with beautiful pink, loving, nurturing light and energy. Life comes in cycles. It will get better. You will bounce back. And you'll come out stronger. Okay, and so it is. Okay, come back into present day awareness. Come back in your body. Just take a deep breath. So everything is going to be just fine. Before I close the show, I wanted to mention that I'm going to leave a link in the show notes, or if you're listening on YouTube, I will leave a link in the description to the exercise programs that I personally do, the vitamins that I personally take, that I love. I mean, I've been using these things for years, so I will leave a link to that. And I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing. That's the only way this message is going to get out, because I don't advertise. Basically, my work just gets out by others, so I cannot thank you enough. And please remember, if you're willing to let me use a 1 to 2 sentence testimonial of working with me privately or using any of my products, please send me a little picture of you. Because, I don't have to use your name. Just tell me what you're comfortable with. I don't have to use your full name, but a photo helps, even if it's just your first name, and 1 to 2 sentences of how you've benefited from my services or products. So I want to thank you so very much, and know that I'm sending you all my love, healing energy, positivity, and immense gratitude. I hope you have a beautiful day and week. Bye-bye. Take care.